talking about WWE Fastlane and the road to Wrestlemania. And what a road it's been. It's been an absolutely... It's been a road full of speed bumps.
I mean,
and potholes.
Hey guys, I'm Craig. I will think of an online pseudonym at some point, but
Yeah,
not for now.
But for now, just disregard him entirely.
But yeah, I mean, we've been planning to do this for a while now, but I've been a bit slow on the uptake with it, with doing other things. So, but I promise now, my fully attention will be on doing these on time.
Well, I'm going to hold you to that, so we'll get there. So let's not waste time. Let's just get straight into it. Fastlane. What did you think of it overall?
I think it was pretty much. It was an event. It wasn't really. I don't even think it was really needed.
I think that's the case. To me, it was just. Let's be honest. It was just a glorified version of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was an attempt. I think at WWE to put to make the fans like Roman Reigns more.
Well, that was the ultimate objective. Yeah. So let's go into a little bit about what's the first match was. 6-man tag, Dolph Ziggler, Ryback, and Eric Rowan versus Seth Rollins, The Big Show, and Kane.
I mean, again, I think that match was pure filler. I mean, the wrong outcome of the match was obviously being with the Authority winning. I mean, I didn't see what the point of that whole match was. I mean, it didn't really make any of them look particularly sort of good in the ring at all. It was a very short match as well.
I figured that this was obviously going to be the ideal match to kick off the show by giving them the one match that everybody said, oh, for fuck's sake, why are we watching this? My prediction was pretty much on the money. I knew the Authority was going to win this. I didn't know who was going to pin who, but yeah.
But I mean, you look at it, it's supposed to be a pay-per-view, right? And you've got someone the caliber. I mean, everyone knows I really like Seth Rollins.
Oh, we all do.
And you put him. Couldn't you have thought of a better opponent for? Couldn't you have put him in a singles match against Dolph Ziggler, maybe?
That would have been worth watching.
To me, that would have been a better opening match than what they come up with.
Yeah.
I know they try to include, or maybe just had a tag team match with Ryback and Rowan against Kane and the Big Show.
It's annoying because you see these matches pretty much every week on SmackDown.
Yeah, that's all the main events ever are. It's just big tag team matches. So why couldn't they showcase? And everyone loves Dolph Ziggler anyway, and everyone loves to hate Seth Rollins. So why couldn't they make that?
That just shows you that your heel persona is working when they love to hate you.
And they know that those two probably would have put on a decent match. So that just baffled me in a way.
That's absolutely.
But like you say, the outcome was very much expected.
Yeah. Worth mentioning, I think the only thing that I sort of caught my interest during the match was when Ryback reversed it. Seth Rollins was leaping off the second turnbuckle and Ryback reversed it into a shell shock. I thought that was a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I agree. That probably was the standout spot of the match.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it was just a filler match that just to give them a place on the pay-per-view, which in my mind was a mistake.
It was. Due
to my thoughts on it, could have been a singles match.
It was their attempt to, obviously, they think it was exciting the crowd, and that was not going to work, especially during the night.
No, you could tell the crowd weren't really bothered anyway. They sort of just they knew
what
what
was
going to happen.
The crowd in this show was absolutely horrible.
I mean, where was it based? It
was Memphis, Tennessee. I thought, it was just surprising. I was under the impression that was a major wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, a lot of big wrestlers have come from Tennessee. A big wrestling country is Tennessee. It just shows how far it's gone with the fans and stuff over the years. It's gone. The fan reaction has just gone downhill since like the old days of when Jerry Lawler was big and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a totally different spectre now.
It's crazy.
And that was a big example of how it's changed with the crowd there.
It's stupid. Any other notes was the crowd starts chanting for Randy Orton when the Authority was. I believe the Authority was attacking was it Ziggler or?
I mean, they possibly should have brought Randy Orton back there.
At least
to make the pay-per-view sort of more worth watching.
Yeah. But I just like that they go chanting Randy Orton. It's like, he's not here tonight, and then you hear the music plays. Like, oh, he's here tonight. It's like, and I just love the announcers trying to play it off as we did not see this coming. So yes, we did because they were just shouting at you. We saw it coming.
So yeah, to me that match was it was anticlimactic, and they could have at least had Randy Orton run in and attack Seth Rollins after the match.
That would have been the best way to build off their WrestleMania encounter, but no, they left it way too late.
Yeah, I mean, it would have built up. I mean, that would have given more time to build up the thing beforehand, rather than what they've done, which we'll come on to.
We'll get to that when we do the WrestleMania predictions. Alright, second match of us. Oh, fuck's sake. Goldust versus Stardust. This match should never have taken place.
Yeah, see, to me, if they really wanted to push this brother feud like they've done so many times in the WWE, be it with justifiable real life brothers or not, in the case of Edge and Christian and Taker and Kane. But,
brothers.
But it's one of those things. If they were going to do it, I mean, Goldust, I mean, yeah, he's seen as the bizarre one and stuff like this, but everyone knows who knows wrestling knows he is a really good athlete. And he's
one of those few guys that seems to only get better as he ages.
Yeah, he's a veteran now, but he's still a class act. And to make him have this match, which again to me was just another spot on the card for him.
Yeah.
If they were going to build up this feud, they should have saved this match for WrestleMania.
I don't know why they didn't. It's because going into this is probably one of the only feuds I actually cared about. It was like, oh, we're going to finally see him have a match. Oh, this would be good. They've been building this up for months.
And even like Dusty Rhodes, his involvement in it wasn't even that really, significant. He didn't really have much.
I don't know what you called it. I did call this much incorrectly. I was going to. My guess was Stardust was going to win due to a dodgy finish. I thought Dusty Rhodes was going to get involved and screw Goldust over.
And go with him. Yeah, I thought the exact same.
And they were going to have this rematch at WrestleMania, and then Goldust was going to get the win there.
But they don't seem to have. I mean, after that match, we'll come on to it, but it seems that feud's just been sort of pushed under the rug now.
It seems to be that they booked in for Fastlane. Crowd was probably the most silent they were. And there was not one bit of. No, scratch that. They did come out. They did wake up at least some point. That's when they started chanting "boring."
Yeah, they just weren't interested in it. There weren't enough build up to it, and it should have been a WrestleMania.
It was literally thrown in at last week. I think they only announced it the week as the Raw before.
It seemed to me like they were desperate for another match, and that was the quickest one they could throw together.
Yeah. What was anything noticeable going on? Before the match, Goldust had a cut promo that he would do his best not to hurt Cody Rhodes, and that he would stop wearing the face paint. But it's kind of bad where the number one highlights in it is when it says on the screen, RKO out of nowhere is trending worldwide. I was more interested in the trends than this match, because the whole crowd was almost silent on China Boy, and one noticeable thing was the fact that throughout the match, the crowd was actually chanting Cody Rhodes, Cody, just to piss off Stardust.
And I think that is a sign that, the WWE again not listening to what the fans want. Again, I used to really like Cody Rhodes. I thought he was, he is a brilliant sort of breakout star, and I thought he was going to go, after he left teaming up with Damien Sandow, I thought he was going to go far in sort of up to the higher things of the World Championship.
He should do, and you should take this as a sign that the Stardust gimmick.
No, people just at first they were a bit shocked by it, but people just don't care about it.
No,
they'd much rather see. So I think people would probably even rather see the dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick.
I think they would, yeah. And I kind of wish he does go back to that,
because he doesn't show off what he can do in that role. In my view, he acts like it's just a Goldust of this generation.
It is. We don't really need it.
We've seen it before. 20 years ago when Goldust first appeared.
Yeah. Stardust assaults Goldust backstage, hitting a rematch at WrestleMania, which we know is not going to happen. One thing that was laughable was a questionable finish. It looked like the ending got botched there. Yeah,
I thought the same with that. I thought that Stardust was bound to win. I truly think he was meant to win.
I think he was.
But to me, there was even though they're brothers, I think there was sort of a distinct lack of communication during the match.
Yeah.
And they sort of just wanted to rush the end quickly to get out of there.
It looked like when Goldust was pinned him, it looked like Stardust was actually supposed to kick out, and he just didn't kick out fast enough.
Yeah, they just made a quick.
The referee did not make a 3 count. He just sort of went 1, 2, and it just hovered above the.
You could even get the distinct impression from the commentators that it wasn't meant to happen there, because Michael Cole was sort of surprised it was 3. He was like, "Oh, it was 3," They seemed, you could tell the surprise on them, it was not meant to happen.
He's just hovered above the ring there, his hand there, and which is a sign that Stardust should have kicked out at that point.
Signal into Stardust that he should kick out.
Yeah, he just didn't do it in time. A botched ending, and it's just a poor match overall.
Yeah, it's just for a match. It's one of those disappointments that it was a match that could have been so much more at WrestleMania.
It could have been, because going into WrestleMania, it probably would have been one of the few matches that people actually cared about.
Yeah, as they've done a lot in the recent times, they dropped the ball on that feud.
It's stupid. What was the next match? Tag team championships between the Usos and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd.
Now this is probably my favourite match on the whole card.
This was probably one of the matches of the night. Yeah. My prediction was the Usos was going to retain.
Yeah, I was totally surprised at the outcome of the match, but again, everyone knows I absolutely love Tyson Kidd. I have done since he was teaming with David Hart Smith all them years ago, and I think WWE dropped the ball there where they let David Hart Smith go.
Definitely.
Because anyone knows what he's doing now, knows that obviously being in Japan as the Killer Elite Squad.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what he's doing now, and he's doing far better. But since Tyson Kidd's been on his own, they haven't really done much with him.
No.
So, he's been in and out of NXT and on Superstars and stuff like that. He had that brief stint teaming with Justin Gabriel, who's no longer in WWE. But everyone knows, you see the moves he performs in the ring. He hasn't got the look that people probably want, but as a wrestler and a technical specialist, he is. Anyone who's seen any of his other matches knows he is a brilliant young star.
Absolutely.
And teaming with Cesaro, and let's face it, everyone loves Cesaro.
Everybody loves Cesaro because of the fact he's one of the legitimate wrestlers.
Anyone that's seen any of his indie work in ROH, and anyone who's seen his matches with Sami Zayn in NXT knows just how brilliant Cesaro is.
Absolutely.
And when they put those two together, I was really pleased.
It was a good move for them to give him a good combination between Kidd and Cesaro, and I did like the fact that they actually won this match, because it was about time Cesaro got at least a decent push, because it seems to me ever since he won the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, his push has been
faded out. Yeah,
flat.
he had sort of the push where he was with the Real Americans with Jack Swagger, and he started getting lower and lower down the card, and lost a lot. And
with that. We won
he's nowhere near been that dominant force that he was when he first entered the WWE. He was as Antonio Cesaro, and had I think it was the US title push he had for a while.
Did he?
Yeah, when he won it off, I think he won it off Santino.
Oh yeah.
Back when he first, a couple of years ago now, I believe, when he was with Aksana.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And after the Battle Royal, he was briefly aligned with Paul Heyman,
which seemed to end without any sort of explanation.
As you say, they sort of pushed that under the rug a bit, didn't they? Just sort of, let's forget that happened.
I think it was around the time that Brock Lesnar sort of started coming back into the picture, wasn't it?
After he beat the streak, they started getting noticeable.
But there was no sort of explanation of why Cesaro left him.
No. Which is a real shame, because Paul Heyman could have really done... Paul Heyman's one of the best workers in there.
He is. I mean, although he's bound to get hate because he's a heel manager and that's what they're meant to get, but
he plays it very well.
Yeah, and what he's done sort of for the wrestling business in general, I mean, I really like him. He appears like a twat on TV, but he's meant to.
That's the point.
Yeah, and he has done a lot. I mean, the people that came out of ECW over the years, who have now some of the biggest stars in WWE and TNA, you can't deny what the man did.
You can't.
And he's still promoting. When he does promos, he makes you believe what he's saying.
Absolutely, that's very true.
Which is it's very hard to do, especially in this day and age where the IWC think they know everything.
Yeah, kayfabe is pretty much dead at this point.
But in general, I'm glad he's there, and kind of annoyed that they did drop the ball with him with Cesaro, because Cesaro, he's going to be around a long time, I think. It
seemed to me that I remember a while ago, Cesaro made some snarky comments about Randy Orton and John Cena. He said, we don't want to see them have a match. I think it was around. It might have been around when they had the match at Hell in a Cell. Yeah. And he used to say, the fans don't want to see them two going at it again. We've seen it about 500 times. It is boring. Give us something new. And he was just speaking on behalf of the fans. And I think it was that one tweet he put out that made Vince say, he's putting down our big guys. Bury him. He must be buried for this.
And then from there, he started to lose every single match.
He was went on this big losing streak.
He was sort of, I hate to say relegated to NXT, because, in my opinion, at the moment, they're putting out a far better product than what WWE are.
For him, that's probably a bit of promotion going back to NXT.
And a lot of
why would you want to leave it?
As much as people hate to sort of admit to it, Triple H is the one that's behind NXT.
Yeah.
He's doing a far better job than what Vince is at the moment with anything to do with Raw or SmackDown.
Exactly. So it just goes to show, the sooner he gets in control, it's probably going to be for the better.
Although people hate it because of the way he's got into the job with being married to Stephanie and stuff like that, and yeah, that is how he's got into the family and stuff like that. But
you can't deny that that's played some part.
As a wrestling business mind, he looks to have far better nowadays than what Vince can.
He knows more what the fans want than Vince does.
And I think that shines a lot from coming from it's a wrestler mindset doing it rather than Vince doing it, who was never a.
He was a businessman rather than a wrestler.
Yeah, but it shows when a wrestler has got the reins of sort of a wrestling product, they know what to do with it.
It's like it's just Triple H can views the wrestling business from the inside, rather than Vince McMahon who's looking out.
But you look at the people that he signed into NXT in recent times. You know, the wrestlers that anyone that knows anything outside of WWE knows are the biggest stars going.
Yeah.
You know, Sami Zayn, formerly known as Al Generico, everyone knows what he's done over the years. Kevin Steen, now known as Kevin Owens in the WWE. Anyone who's seen their legendary matches over the world know what they're capable of.
Exactly.
And to his credit, they haven't really toned any of them down that much compared to what I thought they would.
No, and I hope they keep it that way. But you just know, because with Vince being in charge of Raw, you just don't trust how they're going to use them. I mean, look at the way the Ascension got there.
Yeah, that brings me on, not to go off track of the topic, but this is a classic example of Triple H made them into a very, very intimidating good tag team in NXT.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the main roster writers got their hands on them, they just completely dropped the ball.
Even from day one when they first came in, nobody cared.
Why did they give them that entrance attire they wear and that face paint?
No.
They didn't wear any of that in NXT, and people loved them. They were like the top heel tag team in it after the Wyatt family joined the main roster. They were the top heel tag team, and the fans used to love them. And how often do you see that?
Yeah.
The fans used to love them destroying other tag teams.
The fans did. They always love a good heel faction, and they really pulled it off.
They did work, especially the original incarnation of the Ascension with Kenneth Cameron, who's now known as Bram in TNA, for anyone who doesn't know, after he was fired. I mean, don't get me wrong, Victor plays a good role, and I do like Victor, but I preferred sort of Connor when he was on with Kenneth Cameron. I think they had the look, the dark look the Ascension needed.
Yeah.
And to me, when they sort of changed their theme music, it was a bit of a disappointment.
It looked like to me when they first came on, it's like Vince was saying, like, I want you two to basically be, the Rhodes Warriors all over again. And
yeah.
Like,
and
you don't need to.
No, they should have just left them as sort of, they had that persona in NXT that they were sort of like a younger tag team incarnation of what The Undertaker used to put out.
Yeah.
Like the dark side, sort of Howl sort of look, and like the Grim Reaper sort of look. They should have left it like that. It worked. The entrance was intimidating. I don't know whether you personally ever saw their entrance.
I did. NXT. Yeah, I watched a few of their matches in NXT.
The entrance was generally intimidating, wasn't it?
It was. It was like you described. It was like a younger generation of an Undertaker-like entrance.
And there was even rumours going back when they first come up to the main roster that the Undertaker would take them under his wing as their manager, which never ended up coming to fruition.
That would have been very interesting to see.
Like a sort of a new incarnation of the Ministry of Darkness. Sort of.
Yeah, that would have been that would have given it a really big edge.
Which I think would have worked with their characters.
It would have done. It would have worked perfectly.
And it would have made them a more believable monster heel tag team.
And it would have gone over well with the fans. Having the Undertaker in your corner.
Yeah,
how could you go wrong?
No matter what, that's always going to get over with the fans.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you could be any tag team, and if the Undertaker's managing you, that's it.
Well, there you can't go wrong with it. But we're getting off track here a bit.
Yeah. We'll come back to that.
We'll get back.
Where were we on the main show?
Yeah, where were we? Tyson Kidd pins. Always my big problem. I can never fucking tell which Uso's which.
Jimmy and Jay. No, I know one. I think Jimmy's the one with the chest tattoo. I believe. That's the only way I can distinguish it.
I'm going to assume this anyway.
And isn't it Jimmy that's married to Naomi? Is that Jimmy?
I think it's Jimmy. Is that supposed to be something on Total Divas?
I think it's Jimmy that's married to Naomi.
Tyson Kidd pins, I'm going to assume, Jay Uso. After that was an impression with swinging fisherman neck break.
Yeah, a move he hasn't really used that much in WWE.
No, that was an impression.
The only disappointment I hated at the end of that match is they never got to use their tag team finisher, which I'm a real big fan of. I don't know whether you've personally seen it.
I think it was only once I've seen it.
The powerbomb blockbuster combination.
That's it.
Cesaro has him up in a powerbomb, and Tyson Kidd jumps springboards into a blockbuster off the top of it.
That is good, yeah.
Which is slightly like what he used to do in the tag team with Justin Gable. They used to do like a spine buster, blockbuster combination. But obviously, where Cesaro is taller and stronger, it looks better as a powerbomb.
Yeah.
But to me, that was a genuinely, asking.
That looked like a move that you could believe would be lethal.
Yeah. But I did like the finishing move at the end was good. That net breaker is good.
Yeah. Anything of note to this? Cesaro performs a brief one-legged swing to no crowd reaction.
Which was surprising.
It's surprising. Everybody loves, the giant swing, and there's like, that's one of the biggest babyface moves you can use.
And they sort of incorporated that into a tag team move now, haven't they? Where like he does the swing and Tyson Kidd does the drop kick.
Yeah. And you get no crowd reaction there. Cesaro superplexes Jey Uso from the ring apron. I thought that just goes to show how.
Is that where he brings him in from the apron? He stood on.
He
the
stood on the apron, and he's on the second rope. Lifts him right in the ring.
So he deadlifts him all the way into the ring.
Yeah, that is an amazing feat of strength.
I know, like, the Usos aren't that big of guys, but they're still like 220, 30 pounds. Which
to lift him up from the aprons right all the way up into the ring. Yeah, that still takes a lot of power.
It's lifting the whole man's body weight, so it takes a lot of power.
It does. This was a joke. Michael Cole's commentary about Cesaro. He goes over Cesaro's amazing 2014 year. What was some of the highlights of his amazing year, Michael? He won the Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30, and that's it.
Yeah, which again you're surprised because you'd assume the wrestler that wins that they would push on to bigger things. Kind of in the same case as who wins the Money in the Bank. That's always tended to be whoever wins that tends to slowly get up in the like Seth Rollins has. Yeah, since he won that and he left the Shield, he's just been like the main headliner of all the events. Yeah. Same case as CM Punk did, and Edge. That's pretty much how Edge come into the world title picture for forever, wasn't it?
It pretty much was, yeah. Money in the Bank built them up. So it goes to show you that Cesaro, they are pretty much burying Cesaro.
And they sort of made the Battle Royal insignificant, even though it's based on a legend. It's
based on the legend Andre the Giant, and it's just become meaningless. It's stupid.
Which is quite an insult to his memory, to be quite honest with you.
It was. What happened next? The Sting and Triple H when they confront each other face to face. It's kind of sad. Where the one thing I'm looking forward to the most on the pay-per-view is a confrontation between two veterans.
Yeah, and did Sting? Yeah, Sting appeared, didn't he?
He made his appearance. Yeah.
But if I remember rightly, he didn't talk.
No, there was the only one drawback to this was he kept silent throughout the whole thing, which
I
works, but I would have loved him to have uttered a few words.
Yeah, because this sort of is trying to make him more intimidating, but everyone's heard Sting talk on WCW and TNA.
That's what they're going with. They were treating it like as when he first came back into WCW as the Crow persona, he kept silent for about a year and a half.
Yeah,
and they're just reusing old WCW, gimmicks. That's what it was.
I mean, he finally sort of got to speak like on Raw, didn't he? Like cut a proper promo.
Eventually, the first time he spoke, which was exclusive on the WWE network.
Yeah, so
no, that's not a shameless plug, man.
We all know how much it is.
Yeah,
but
it's a bloody rip-off.
But I mean, again, I'm glad he's come in, but I really wish he would have come in with the premise that everyone thought he would have come in with facing the Undertaker.
I still wish that they would
I know everywhere thinks that because next year they're in Texas, WrestleMania, they're going to do it there, but have they left it too long?
People will agree that it's their age has factored in. They did leave. If this was about 5 or 6 years ago, this would have been perfect. But
yeah, listen, and I'm not saying they still can't go. I mean, they're not ancient now, but they're not going to be able to put on the same kind of shows they would have 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
Because
in my opinion, it should have been if they could still do it at 32. Yeah. If I were booking it, I would book Sting and the Undertaker at 32 because they're both live in Dallas, Texas, and bill it as a double retirement match. It'd be a final send off to these two guys. It's a dream match everyone wants. It's going to be both their last matches. I guarantee you that alone would probably be enough to fill in that huge ass stadium.
Yeah, because I mean Sting. I know there's probably some people that dislike him, but you can't sort of deny the fact that he's probably WCW's answer to what Hulk Hogan is. to the WWF.
Yeah,
WWE
back,
now. He pretty much is the Hulk. He hasn't had as much of a long tenure, but he is pretty much the Hulk Hogan of WCW.
He was, yeah.
And like the way they keep making references now to WCW and stuff like that, and you've got to respect the fact that he never joined, even though he was still in perfectly wrestling shape back in 2001, and he could have gone for years. He never left with the others and just joined the WWF.
Yeah. I know that at the time he couldn't do because of contract negotiation, because he had a contract they just couldn't buy out, so that was the reason why. But you'd have thought afterwards, when that contract ran out and he was free, they would have signed him. But
and he chose to go to TNA. Yeah. Which
they won't acknowledge. Is it? He just disappeared for 14 years. We don't know any. What's this TNA you're talking about?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether they do actually end up referencing him in TNA. Which I
I doubt they'll do that. So confrontation here. Sting enters the ring to cheers for what sounded like about a quarter of the crowd. Again, even Sting can't get a decent pop at this crowd.
I think the only decent pop he got was at the Survivor Series.
That sounded flat on the TV, but it's not uncommon for a crowd to sound flat on TV, but really big in live.
It must have been really big because obviously it was probably a bit unexpected, wasn't it? Because I wasn't expecting him to show up at the Survivor Series. And I can usually point out or predict a lot of good stuff that's going to happen.
Also, Triple H basically talks a lot of crap. Offering Sting a place in the Hall of Fame because he doesn't want him to just go. Basically, doing whatever it takes just to get rid of him. Sting's just not having any of it. And then a little fight breaks out, and Triple H assaults Sting and tries to pull out the sledgehammer, and Sting whips out his baseball bat, which we haven't seen up until this point, which I was under the impression that WWE was just not allowing him to use his baseball bat.
Yeah, because that's sort of his iconic.
It's iconic weapon. I was under the impression because it's a PG era. A baseball bat is more accessible to kids than the sledgehammer would be. They thought, we can't do that. Kids may get the idea. Well, maybe I'd go swinging a baseball bat around.
Yeah.
But no, but he did, and he just pointing his baseball bat right into Triple H's friend. He's like, "Oh God, no! It's an item related to an actual sport."
And then
what do I do?
Does the thing they all do and just point to the Wrestlemania sign.
One of the WrestleMania sign confirming what we all knew was going to happen months ago.
Yeah.
So
another sort of predictable sort of promo, but which probably wasn't really needed.
Yeah, but so it was nice to see anyway. Cause I think everybody would have liked to see Sting.
And it was good that Sting actually did appear.
Yeah. Oh, and Sting hits Triple H with a scorpion death drop all without saying a word. Yeah, before that, the commentators continued to blah, blah, blah. Fucking network as they shove down our throats, which they do every fucking night.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out in this video as well that I think Michael Cole is the most terrible face commentator of all time.
We just want to get that out there, so Michael Cole sucks.
It's just like he literally wants to run into the ring and kiss their ass. I mean, yeah, you're meant to be for them, but you're not meant to be that sort of in your face. Because JR was a face commentator, but even he used to acknowledge that even the heels were their history in different sports, and he used to acknowledge they were great wrestlers.
At least he acknowledges from an athletic point of view.
Yeah.
God, I miss JR's commentator.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. We'll come on to that in another
video. We're getting off track again. What was next? The Divas Championship. Oh, this is boring.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing that I'll slightly bring up NXT for a moment again.
Please do. It's more interesting than this.
This is another thing that these divas, I don't like that word.
Divas.
Female wrestlers.
Yeah, the women wrestlers.
These are they're portraying it like these are more sort of dominant and better performers over the female wrestlers that are in NXT at the moment. And anyone that's seen a Divas match in NXT recently will tell you that is complete and utter trash.
You want proof of it? Just look at the last event that did that NXT Takeover Rival.
Yeah, I mean
that Fatal 4-Way was match. Fucking hell.
I mean, yeah, you got people like Bayley, Sasha Banks, Ric Flair's daughter Charlotte, even Becky Lynch, who probably people don't realise know a lot about her, which I didn't, so I watched some of her old stuff. But they put on a far better match in one match than probably a whole year of main roster diva action has ever been.
That's probably not an exaggeration either.
The typical diva match in the WWE on Raw lasts maybe 5-6 minutes.
If that.
Even less sometimes.
Well, though, I remember we can't forget that infamous match they had on Raw where it only lasted about 30 seconds.
Yeah, whereas like these matches, and it's making Paige look kind of stupid because Paige, she's far better than they're portraying.
She's probably one of the best wrestlers they got in terms of the Divas.
Anyone that knows anything about what she did before the WWE knows that she comes from a wrestling family.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she's been wrestling since she was like 13, 14 years age, professionally.
Yeah, because she's already got about 7 or 8 years experience under her belt.
It's yet another example of them just bringing up a main thing to the main roster, a talent from NXT, and just totally ruining them in my book.
Absolutely.
She got that initial push when she first come up, and it was totally unexpected, like the day after WrestleMania last year.
And pins AJ Lee for the Divas Championship.
But since then, they just turned her into, to me, they've ruined her. They should have kept her on NXT for a while longer, I think.
I think they should, yeah.
To give her a proper sort of feud against maybe Charlotte again, or maybe Sasha Banks.
That probably would have worked.
Because that would have put on even better matches.
Yeah. What was the prediction going in? Yeah, I knew Nikki Bella was going to win this. I was expecting Brie Bella to interfere and Nikki would get the pin there.
And this is another thing that I'll come on to about the Bella twins right now. Whatever happened to them being enemies is the storyline. That seems to have been brushed straight under the carpet.
I could have sworn that they used to be feuding over something.
Yeah, they had a feud, and they had a feud. I think it was at Hell in a Cell, where the loser of the match had to be their personal servant or something for 30 days.
Yeah, that's right. It stemmed from SummerSlam, didn't it?
Yeah, and Nikki Bella won the match, which means Brie had to be her servant or whatever they want to call it.
No, be her bitch.
And they still seem to be sort of, you know, have a bit of animosity at that point. But after that happened, and you know, she won the Divas title, they just seem to have become the old Bella twins again.
Yeah.
And nothing was explained why.
Weren't you guys feuding at one point?
So I'd like to ask. I'd ask the writers now. What happened to that feud?
Yeah.
It was never.
What happened there?
It was never explained why it ended.
No.
So please stop doing that. Anyway, let's go to the match.
We can't do that. Who are we to point out continuity issues in their storytelling?
But yeah, in all, the match was, again, it was just yet another typical Divas match. You knew what the outcome was going to be. You knew there was going to be interference, and you didn't even feel like Paige was ever going to win.
You knew going to this.
You knew there was no. Usually you get a feeling if there's a hope, but you just knew she was never going to win.
Anything pointed out? This was an interesting little mishap. Was Lillian Garcia refers to Nikki Bella as the women's champion.
Which obviously everyone knows they call the Divas champion.
Yeah, the women's champion was defunct years ago, but I thought that was an interesting slip of the tongue there. You know, where did that come from? I think it just goes to show even they don't fucking care about them.
Yeah, I think if you ask generally, like even the commentators, they don't really want to see.
Well, they weren't, because the commentators, Michael Cole especially, he's like, they felt more the need to promote like the Academy Awards and the Total Divas throughout the entire match.
And again, not even just at that pay-per-view, but the crowds are totally dead during those matches.
Yeah, and with the crowd being already dead, it's like, oh my god, can they die any further during this match?
Pin drop in the arena.
Yeah.
No one's interested.
Nobody is.
They won't sort of give into it and keep the matches off it, or just only have them on Raw sporadically, rather than putting them on a damn pay-per-view.
I just hope that they actually get a decent time for WrestleMania after that. Give Divas a chance, hashtags. I think they have noticed that, and I hope they do actually, listen to them and actually give them. Because these women can wrestle.
Yeah, that's the thing that really frustrates me about it. I mean, say Paige, AJ, the Balor twins to an extent, they've improved a lot since they've
gotten better. I still don't think they're all that great.
They're only there for their looks. Let's be
honest. Yeah, that's all they're there for.
Nikki Bella's probably at the top because of who she's with.
Yeah.
They're both with two stars that have sort of been at the top of the
people are saying that that's the other reason they're getting pushes, because they're married and dating Daniel Bryan and John Cena respectively.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't pick two opposite blokes, could you really?
Not really, no. You got the big face of the company, you got this, and you got this other guy who's stuck in the mid card here.
But
we'll get to that again.
In general, they've improved the shed though since they first wins. Don't get me wrong, but they're still nowhere up there with Paige or anyone like that. They've got a long way to go in my view.
Only decent move that seemed to be put on was Nikki lands an Alabama slam, as JBL called it.
Yeah, which he still keeps making reference to Bob Holly about, which I'm quite surprised.
Yeah. I give Holly. I've never liked him on commentary.
I don't think he's very popular universally, to be fair.
Well, why would you be? He's got an outdated gimmick.
Yeah, he tries to portray sort of the old style of what sort of Jesse the Body used to be.
Yeah, and let's face it,
he tries to be. thinks he tries to act like he's being biased, but he's always for the heels.
Yeah.
And he's always against, obviously, what the face commentator's saying. Even though, like, sometimes he comes out with stuff for the faces, like everyone knows he used to love Alter Ego. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, he shouldn't be on commentary.
No. Biggest highlight for me was during this match was the hidden camera in the turnbuckle, and that's only because it gave me a nice view of Paige.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that's been going on recently. As you look on various forums, there's pictures, and you can see the fans like taking shots of zooming in on Paige, which is quite amusing. But
yeah.
I can see why, because she's a very attractive young lady.
Well, yeah. That's the only reason partly the only reason you're going to look at her for.
But, I mean, and you know, she is English, so she gets double votes for us. But you know, I don't know. It's the thing. I'm surprised she's letting it happen, really, because I thought she always had that thing where she wanted to be based on wrestling rather than looks. Because it also...
She's on Total Divas.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to come on to that really...
Oh, that means we've got to talk on Total Divas. I don't want to talk...
Only briefly, I promise. But, yeah, it really surprised me that she appeared on there, because I thought deep down she had the same sort of attitude as what AJ had. And really
the anti-diva.
Yeah, hated sort of like the attitude of this all about looks.
Yeah.
So that says to me that she...
I hate this idea it's all about beauty and looks. I'm on this reality show where all we care about is beauty and looks.
I mean, it says to me that she it was maybe a desperate attempt to fit in.
Either that, or the creative team said, "You're going on there.
Yeah.
You're gonna like it."
And like it was maybe an attempt to keep him with Vince rather than be buried.
Probably.
For like because AJ.
Even though she got buried anyway. Since she came on there, she thought she hadn't done anything worthwhile.
No, but I mean that's enough about the Divas.
Yeah, I think I've had enough.
It wasn't a very good match, and
it is what it is, and that's just an excuse for you to go to the bath.
Yeah. So,
which is really sad, and I'm hoping that's not going to be the case for WrestleMania.
No, definitely not. I agree.
Not, no. But anyway, moving on. What was next? Bad News Barrett versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship match. This is a mixed bag for me. This one was.
I mean, it sounds like on paper it could be a really good match. I mean,
it really could.
I like Wade Barrett, or Bad News Barrett as he's called. But
I do, yeah, because his gimmick to me I thought was really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's a heel, but
and he's British as well.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to love a Brit.
Well, so do we.
But you know, he's a heel, but the fans still seem to love him.
The gimmick seems to go really well.
When he first started doing the bad news segments, everyone it was comical to everyone, even though he was portraying a heel.
Yeah, it was one that was amusing as well.
Which I actually do wish he'd go back to doing, where he was stood on the podium with the.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I think a lot of his problem is what's made him more or less is where he's been so injury prone the last few years. I mean, he keeps getting injured, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's injury prone.
So he probably could have done more in the WWE in the last few years if he hadn't kept getting injured.
Yeah. My prediction was Bad News Barrett was going to win. I just thought he was going to win cleanly for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe like someone might get involved, but no one really had a reason to get involved in that, should they? There wasn't. I mean, it was too early to.
I knew Dean Ambrose wasn't going to win this.
No, he's another one that seems to be paying his dues at the moment. He hasn't done a lot since he left the Shield, really. He's lost a heck of a lot.
I think he's only had one sort of major pay-per-view win in the last several months.
This has come up on various forums that people have worked out that he's only won one match on pay-per-view since he left the Shield.
Yeah.
Which is quite startling, seeing the Shield broke up all the way back.
Dean Ambrose, which is sad because Dean Ambrose is probably one of the more talented guys out of the three.
When was it? June last year? The Shield broke up after Payback?
It was after Payback, I believe, yeah.
Not after, when Seth Rollins joined Triple H.
That's right, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a long time to only have one victory on pay-per-view.
That's why I thought, Bad News Barrett was going to win. Dean Ambrose, they were going to have a rematch for WrestleMania until Dean Ambrose was going to catch him.
Yeah, definitely.
But now that this 7-man ladder match is going on, which is fucking ridiculous in itself.
With this silly concept of everyone stealing the title.
Yeah. I have no idea now. So, what was anything worse? Dean Ambrose lands an impressive tornado DDT from the second turnbuckle, which... I thought that was probably the best spot of the match.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't too
That
many...
looked like a decent DDT.
Yeah, it looked more believable than most of the DDTs nowadays, a lot of it.
But it turns out, Dean Ambrose loses because he gets disqualified, which really angered the crowd. That was actually one time you could actually hear them noticeably coming away. He was like, no, we don't want a DQ win.
Yeah, because you were there thinking, like, why did he do that? Why would he purposely lose the match? It's just so badly written.
As the commentators say, he's the lunatic whim and all that. He's insane. I was like, but he's not. He can't be. Even if you were insane, you know when to not get fucking DQ'd.
Yeah, it's just a cheap attempt to let Barrett keep the title. I think.
Was, yeah. And Dean Ambrose leaves the arena with the Intercontinental title, starting off this ridiculous angle with, passing the belt around, which we'll touch upon later. So, we don't want to take too long with you.
Yeah, again, that wasn't really a memorable match, so that's why we haven't took long on it.
No. What happened next? Oh, yeah. The Undertaker's Druids entered the arena and bring Casket to the ring, which...
Yeah, I have to say, that watching the pay-per-view, totally didn't expect that. That comes sort of out of the blue, didn't it?
Yeah, it threw me off for a few seconds. I thought, wait, is the Undertaker actually going to be here?
I genuinely believe that the Undertaker.
And then the second you see the casket coming, you're like, no, that's not him. You know that's going to be Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt made some guys, yeah. There's somewhat cheers and somewhat boos because everyone was like,
it's a big anticlimax. Yeah. Thinking you're always.
I thought the biggest, the biggest pop of the night was the Undertaker's music.
Yeah, I mean everyone, because this Undertaker's such an iconic person in it now, and it's always going to be a disappointment to some if they think it's him and he isn't him.
Especially at this stage, where we haven't seen him since WrestleMania. It's like, we haven't seen him for all this time. Well, what's he look like? How's he been?
And it teases him coming back at WrestleMania again, doesn't it?
But at least Bray Wyatt makes it abundantly clear that he's been challenging the Undertaker, as if we didn't fucking know.
We had no idea it was.
Yeah. Claiming he will take his soul and that he is the new face of fear. That was an interesting line. It got me thinking, if Bray Wyatt beats the Undertaker, are they going to portray him as the new Undertaker of this generation?
Yeah, I don't think anyone, let's face it, no one could ever replace him.
Oh, definitely not.
But it'd just be interesting to see the reaction after the match, whether if Bray Wyatt does win, whether there's a segment where the Undertaker sort of like lets it be known that he's giving...
Almost like a passing of the torch.
Yeah, he's giving the mantle to Bray Wyatt to be like the next sort of top, sort of dark sort of entity in the WWE.
Yeah. We'll touch upon that when we get to it, so...
But overall, I'm looking forward to that match, I must admit.
It's probably one of the biggest matches of the night, yeah. What's next, Rusev versus John Cena for the United States Championship. This is one of the bigger matches going into this. Yeah,
I mean, I must admit, I thought Cena would have beat him. I've got to be honest, I thought he would have won.
I didn't. I think my prediction was it was going to be a no contest. I didn't think either of them was going to win.
So no one would lose.
No one would lose. Rusev wouldn't win. He wouldn't lose, but because you knew they were going to have a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You knew that. I thought no one was going to win. No one was going to lose, and then get to WrestleMania, and then Cena beats him.
Yeah.
Because that's my prediction going in. Cena is going to win.
Because to me, if that's the way they want to go, to me the whole build-up has been pointless.
Yeah, pretty much is.
Of his he hasn't been pinned since obviously he debuted last year, which I think was about April, May time.
About
that. And to lose to Cena again,
yeah, the golden shovel, everyone calls it.
It seems to have been, it's like Bray Wyatt last year, and it seems to have been pointless.
Oh, yeah. And they have this interesting view with Wyatt and Cena gets buried. I was like, why? Cena didn't need to beat him.
So it's made all the feud beforehand just totally pointless.
Exactly.
And it isn't going to make Rusev any more significant than he is now.
It's a real shame.
At the moment, he's being made to look like he's an unbeatable machine.
Yeah. Which they should keep it that way.
Yeah, because he is. I've always since he was in NXT, I liked him. He's got that believable, sort of intimidating look.
Yeah.
That can go undefeated for a stretch.
It can do. I just wish they would keep it that way. Anything one else? The crowd annoys Rusev by not chanting USA. Yeah, that's a big shock.
Well, we haven't seen that before.
No. It's sad that his gimmick is something we've already seen before. Yeah. It worked then, but I just don't see it working now.
I mean, it's been even more controversial going back years. I mean, who remembers Sergeant Slaughter and the whole Gulf War sympathiser gimmick?
Yeah, at the time that was actually controversial.
Which was meant to be like so bad that he got personal attacks in the street and stuff like that. And he had to have guards with him and stuff like that.
That's how you know something's really working.
So again, it's not new, just like they're using Vladimir Putin and the Russian invasion of Ukraine to pull up another feud.
WWE just doesn't surprise me.
And they're having the great USA saviour go against him like they did years ago with Hogan and Slaughter.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much, because John Cena is always described as Hulk Hogan
of this generation.
And this is pretty much cementing that, because this is just Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter all over again. Yeah. Cena enters the arena to what sounded like mostly cheers, which was somewhat surprising. He didn't get most of his mixed reaction when he enters the arena as he normally does.
Yeah, I think it was like part of the crowd probably wanted him to beat Rusev. That's why, because I think Rusev has got a following that just don't want him to keep winning.
He seems to have this. This build up that people are preferring Cena now that he's not in the main event. You know, now that he's a little further down the card, there's like, now I can sort of don't mind him now.
Yeah, he's being less sort of forced to be the main guy.
And I think, which is the right way to go about it, because I can see what they're doing. They're trying to bring like the US title more prestige, and having Cena battle for it, and if he became the US champion, that would work.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people are tired of seeing him as whatever it is, a 15-time champion, which is an insult in itself. Which was the case at the Royal Rumble when he was in the Triple Threat match, which to me he should not have been in there. If it was just Lesnar and Rollins in that match, it probably would have been even better. Yeah, I mean, and it is. I don't know whether no one knows what Cena probably personally thinks, but
no.
I don't care what anyone says out there. It's a good thing he's not in the main event picture at the moment.
I think it is about time he sort of dwindled down. Look further back into the mid-card.
He's been there long enough now. I mean, he went about 2004, 5.
It was about that time he started coming back.
And I mean, that's a long time.
Nearly 10 years.
That was probably even longer than Hogan was in the main title picture for.
Bloody ridiculous. Crowd chants, the usual, let's go Cena sucks throughout the match. It sounds like they eventually get all of that. Just because they're just that bloody dreadful. Michael Cole makes it and fucks up with the STF by referring to it as the crossface.
Maybe a slight reference to Mr. Canadian.
He should not be mentioned
which I'm surprised they didn't probably edit out.
Yeah. Mind you, isn't Daniel Bryan a subtle reference to Mr. Who, who?
Yeah, which again I'm quite surprised with.
Yeah. Let's see, after the fourth attempt, Cena finally lands an AA, which seems to be a recurring pattern in his matches. Every match he only seems to go for the AA.
Yeah.
It's for the whole match. He says AA attempt, no. Oh, I got it now. finally that one. That's all he seems to do is go for the same move.
And talking about that move, why is it just me that seems to remember that move had a different name a few years ago?
Yes.
So was that just like?
We all know where it sort of originated from. It was his answer to Lesnar's F5.
Yeah.
He used to call it. I remember he used to call it the FU.
Yeah. Was that another example of the PG era? They changed the name of it.
Yeah, to the Attitude Adjustment, which. If my memory serves, didn't somebody else have a move with that name? Was it an elbow drop? I can't remember who used it, but I'm sure I read something that was an elbow drop with that name.
I'll have to go back and look in the archives.
I could have sworn about. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, it says to me there's no originality to it.
I'm not going mad. It called something different.
Yeah, there's no originality to him. His finisher is essentially a parody version of Lesnar's finisher.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's all you want. You see how they boosted him up when back then it was like. Oh, Lesnar left, so we'll use him as essentially a replacement for Lesnar.
And it's nowhere near as good.
It's just not as effective because, let's face it, he's just nowhere near as dominant or believable as a sort of a legit,
sort of monster sort of thing.
Yeah, as Lesnar is.
No,
it's not. It just wasn't working. Cena powers out the accolade, which we knew somebody had to. You knew Superman Cena would power out of that.
Like we were referring to earlier on before the video about. He was the first one to break Chris Masters' master lock. So it's a repeat of that virtually.
Whatever happened to him?
No one knows. I mean, he was never been seen in any other indies, or I think he's just got a stay-at-home proper job now.
Probably.
As far as I know.
If he's out the WWE,
if anyone knows different, feel free to.
Yeah, feel free to. Yeah, if he's out the WWE, he's probably doing better for himself.
Yeah.
Breaks out of that, and Lana. This really killed me. Was the finish. Lana distracts the rep as Rusev lands a low blow, followed by a super kick, which knocks Cena out.
Yeah, I mean that just gives you like memories.
He puts him back in the accolade, and he doesn't tap, but he just passes out, and the referee calls for the bell.
Yeah, and that's an attempt to not make Cena give up, isn't
That's what it was. Yeah, it was to give Rusev a win without truly beating him.
And that just reminds you of the old days of China distracting the referee or giving a low blow so Triple H could win.
It reminded me of that match Cena and Dean Ambrose had on Raw for that before Hell in a Cell to face Seth Rollins. Yeah. You knew Ambrose would win that, but you knew they wouldn't give him a clean win over Cena because there has that contract on a pole match, which what the fuck they invented pole matches for?
We've had a nightstick on a pole match. We've had flags on a pole match. We've had everything. I think there was even I'm not sure whether it was WWE or another promotion. That had scissors hanging on a pole once.
There might have been another one. I remember they had a paddle with the Divas. That's only because whoever won would spank the other. And I remember Stacey Keebler had the win. I was like, yeah, you knew why she won it, because she was the only woman tall enough to reach it.
But it's just another one of those pointless gimmick matches that just aren't needed.
It is, yeah. And Cena, for traditionally, noticeably calls out spots during the match.
Yeah, which is notorious for him, which is really bad in this day and age.
It is.
How high up he is in the company.
It's bad, but it's wise as well, because if you're gonna, I always say that if you're gonna make sure you're gonna be safe doing them. I'd rather you call them out and do them properly than just not call them out and then just botch it up and you end up getting critically injured.
Yeah.
If it's gonna ensure safety, then I'm all for that.
Yeah, that's
true. It's still bad, but again, it's one of those bad looks you can overlook.
Yeah, with some of the things that have gone on with accident-wise, yeah, it probably is best.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have been hurt in recent years,
and some people creating to a screeching halt.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of incidents in the last few years. We'll go with that at some other point.
Yeah, we
don't want to make it too morbid.
No. Finally, the main event was Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the #1 contenders match for WrestleMania.
Which I said at the start of the video that it was a blatant attempt to just get the crowd to like Roman Reigns, even with duration of the match and the outcome of the match, where they made a big point of Daniel Bryan shaking his hand and stuff like that, which was a clear attempt to say, oh, Daniel Bryan likes him, so we must like him.
This has been a very big subject over the last couple of months among fans, was Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Ever since he won the Royal Rumble, I mean, and in a way, it's hard for me because he's been around, how long has the Shield been around? 3 years now?
He's been around about that time in terms of as well as NXT as well.
And I know he was in FCW before that under a different pseudonym, which we won't mention.
No.
But there's been a lot of comparisons to this recently, which I find quite interesting. That people say, oh, he's not ready, he's not been around long enough. But then people forget that people like Sheamus was only on the roster sort of 6 months, and he was the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
So what makes him much different than Roman Reigns? And just a year before, fans were pissed that he didn't win the Royal Rumble then, when...
It's a weird one, isn't it? I think last year they would have preferred Reigns to win then because they just did not want Batista to win, simply because Batista did not deserve it.
Yeah. He
just came back after about 5 years.
And he's
automatically wins a Rumble for headline WrestleMania. That's not fair. At least then Reigns would have been more credible because he's actually around.
Yeah, and it probably would have been more of a surprise because he was just obviously in the Shield then, wasn't he?
The Shield was still around, and Reigns was still liked then.
And it would have given him more of a breakout thing from the Shield.
Yeah. So at least that would have been more predictable. And then it's just got the polar opposite where they don't want Reigns to win because I think mostly that was predictability because they knew going into that Reigns was going to win. You knew it.
Yeah.
Same as Batista, you knew he was going to win.
He was already on the Raws beforehand and events before he was being made to look stronger and stronger and stronger.
And that's one thing we don't want. Is they hate the most is when we know who's going to win. If you know who's going to win, it's just no point. And I noticed a lot of people were comparing Reigns to Lex Luger and Kevin Nash when they got their major push.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers when Kevin Nash first broke away from when he was called Diesel, of course. When he come into it, he was like Shawn Michaels' bodyguard.
Yeah.
He never really wrestled much at all apart. And then he grew into a tag team wrestler with Shawn Michaels and they won the tag titles. And I think he was, if I remember rightly, he was the first wrestler to win all 3 main WWE titles within a year, if I remember that rightly. The tag team titles, then the Intercontinental, then the WWF title.
I think that's right.
And he was, again, I don't know if anyone remembers his first WWF title reign with the stupid squash match over Bob Backlund. I think it was WrestleMania 11. I mean, all that build-up and I think it was an 8-second match. What was that, a punishment for Bob Backlund, or was it just that Diesel couldn't at the time have a decent match in him?
I would be surprised if it was both.
I mean, because don't get me wrong, Diesel was good. I mean, he had that look and he was
He had the physique there.
He had the proper look of the top face of the company, which he was at the time.
Yeah.
But to me, there was so many other people around at the time that were far better than him.
Yeah.
I know this happens every time. I mean, he was even ahead of Shawn Michaels then, which I'm not sure how Shawn Michaels felt about it, because obviously Shawn Michaels had been there and done his time for years beforehand.
It could have been anything, But yeah, they were comparing him to those because they got pushed rather quickly, and Lex Luger was a best example of that. Is he got pushed and nobody wanted to know it. They didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, because I think this was a lot to do with that was because like Lex Luger was already a big star in his own right, and people see him as that guy in WCW.
Pretty much.
Which he was, because he was like a major world title player in WCW at the time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But when he comes to WWE, they'd seen it all before, because he was, I don't know if you remember, he was made to look like the American hero, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that was his gimmick.
Yeah.
So again, they'd seen it all with Hulk Hogan. So they were probably bored.
It wasn't necessary. My prediction, Roman Reigns was going to win. I thought he was going to win from some interference from either Ziggler or Sheamus, because there was a lot of buzz going around that Ziggler wanted to have a match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, which I really wish they did.
So they would have built up, they would have given reasons to build the feud up.
But then I was just thinking, Ziggler-wise, why would you make Ziggler heel?
But you could...
That wouldn't work.
No, you could see though at the time that they'd never let Reigns lose, because it would just make...
No.
They might as well scrap the Royal Rumble.
They may as well. They pretty much made it pointless the night after. But yes, having Ziggler interfere would have made no sense, because one of the most over guys in there was Ziggler.
It would have
being a heel would have been a complete waste.
Yeah, it would have given him heat again, and that wouldn't really have played out well.
I don't think it would have worked anyway. The fans would have probably still cheered for him anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of like when Austin did when he turned heel in 2001. People still cheered for him.
Yeah.
Like, no, we want him. We want you to hate him. You're supposed to boo him, but it's Austin.
I mean, it showed.
We like him.
It showed how much liked Ziggler is. Was it last year, the year before, after WrestleMania? The pop he got when he come out and cashed in his money in the bank.
Yeah, I think it was the night after.
I can't remember who was he. Alberto Del Rio.
That's it. Yeah, he cashed it in. The crowd went nuts. They went berserk.
So, and he was meant to be like a heel at the time. With Vicky Guerrero.
And he just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how they portray him. They just like him because of the fact he could actually put on a decent show.
Yeah, and he reminds me of a Shawn Michaels of years gone by. Just in the way he sells and the way he is in the ring as well.
The way he moves about and just how good he is.
Yeah, young Shawn Michaels he reminds me of.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good attribute,
So Ziggler interfering, no, it wouldn't have made sense. Or Sheamus, because there's speculation that they were going to have Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, which again didn't see
there's speculation going around now about him returning at WrestleMania, isn't there?
Yeah, he could be in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's all the speculations on who's going to win it, and they reckon he's going to come back as a monster heel, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to do that. He's going to come back and screw Bryan over and then have a match because Sheamus be heel again. That just wouldn't make any sense.
Because that's just going over a feud they had a few years ago.
Yeah. Because
if you remember when Daniel Bryan was with AJ and stuff, and there was that infamous match that was over in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So you got to hand it to Daniel Bryan. Really, he's paid some dues in WWE already, hasn't he?
I think he's done more than enough to do that.
Yeah.
Going into this, you wanted Daniel Bryan to win, but you just knew he wouldn't. No. Roman Reigns pins down after the spear, which
which is another thing we'll come on to about Reigns' spear in another video.
A few notes here. Daniel Bryan's entrance, he didn't get a big as a pop as he normally does. It was still a decent pop, but it wasn't as loud as it normally is.
No, I think it was that feeling where people had a feeling that he was going to lose, that they already sort of accepted the fact that he was going to lose.
And they just didn't bother cheering.
No, because they knew it was pointless.
Yeah. The crowd did chant for both Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, but you could tell the ones that were cheering for Reigns was either the kids in the women.
Yeah.
And it was the wrestling fans that were cheering for Bryan.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you how Reigns is going over everybody.
All in all, I think the match was just totally an excuse to try and...
Oh, that's all it was.
Get
Reigns over.
Get the fans to buy into Roman Reigns, and probably worked to a certain extent, but they're still the ones that still dislike it.
That's what this was going in for. There's if The Rock couldn't get Reigns over at Royal Rumble, which I could not believe. They booed The Rock.
And that's
because they did not like the fact he was trying to put Reigns over. That should tell you everything.
That probably hasn't happened since 1998.
Not that loudly, no. But the only time they booed him was in 2003, but that was only because you were supposed to. He was a heel at the time.
Yeah.
He was a really good one at that point. He was really. That was when he was really fun.
Was that the one I remember where he was coming back playing the songs and stuff? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but that was when you were supposed to. But back when he first started, when he was first around when they were booing him when he was the babyface at the time. They were portraying him as this, basically like the Cena, basically, where he goes out there, he's the big goody two shoes.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, the infamous Die Rocky Die chance.
Yeah.
And it didn't help the fact that Austin was around there, the anti-hero and beer drinking guy, and they liked him.
And he had the infamous heel turn when he joined for Farouk and the Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, which was the making of him in the end, because
Yeah.
it made him as popular as he was now.
He hadn't been booed that loudly at the Royal since then, and that should really have said something to us. Like, even if The Rock was getting that reaction, what were you thinking?
Yeah, and it probably hasn't done a lot for The Rock's reputation either.
It probably did. It probably damaged his reputation in a way.
And I think I read after the event of the Royal Rumble that even the Usos were getting hassled, because obviously they're related to Reigns.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Yeah, they're related in some way.
And I think the fans were even surrounding their cars or something.
Yeah, it's a real big family.
Yeah, so all in all, it's always going to be a split decision whether he should have won the Royal Rumble or faced him at WrestleMania. But I'll make more of a judgment after WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It doesn't get. I'm not. This was sort of an interesting sentence that JBL said. It don't mean anything now, but it's interesting at the time. He said, "I'm not sure both these two guys together could take out Brock Lesnar." I thought at the time, is he foreshadowing WrestleMania's event? Were they going to get Daniel Bryan and Reigns in a triple threat?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know not.
It's not going to happen now, but at the time I just thought maybe JBL was foreshadowing inadvertently what was going to happen, but obviously not. One decent spot happened there. Reigns counters a Hurricane Rana from the top turnbuckle into a powerbomb, which I thought was a decent. It was a decent.
Yeah,
spot.
it was unexpected.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
This is the thing about Reigns is I don't blame Reigns as the individual per se.
No,
it's not
no,
at the end. It's not his fault.
No, he's just. To be honest, he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It's just the creative team that's doing it.
Yeah, and he's got that trouble now of where the community is just so different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
Because wrestling fans are a lot harder to please than what they used to be.
To his credit, I will say this: Reigns is getting better.
Yeah, I mean he's not a terrible performer. He's nowhere near as bad as what Cena was years ago.
Oh no.
He's nowhere near in the league of that.
No.
He's still got a way to go, I think, to be like the top one in the company.
This match proved that he can, because Daniel Bryan can make anyone work. He's a great way. He can give anybody a decent match.
Yeah. Sure.
He definitely showed that Reigns can go if put in the right environment.
Yeah. That's to me. That's the whole of it all is he's in the impossible situation of trying to appeal to newer fans, and that's what's making it harder.
It is. So Reigns was on this match. Like I said, he's getting better. He's just. I would say, what would you say the best advice for him would be?
Just try to keep going as he is, but obviously work on sort of maybe doing some more, put more into his Arsenal wrestling move wise.
He definitely needs to expand his Arsenal.
He hasn't got a lot at the moment, if I'm honest.
I think one thing that would have been interesting is if they booked him with this. If he did turn heel, which he should do, was to give him shorter matches, sort of like how Goldberg used to do back in WCW. He used to really destroy his opponents. I think they should book him that way, because he's got the physique to do it. Just make it look like he's dominating them quickly and just as fast as possible.
Yeah, I agree there, because at the moment some of the matches he has are just too long.
Too long, they're dragged out.
At the moment, his Arsenal moves just can't handle it, because there's only so many times we can see a Superman punch.
Yeah, and that's getting boring in itself.
The kick on the apron that he does.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all he does, inverted with a few clotheslines, and that's pretty much his whole arsenal at the moment.
Yeah.
And then the spear.
So that's it, yeah. Daniel Bryan loses and is used as a puppet to get Reigns over. He gives Reigns his seal of approval after the match. Yeah. And we all knew what was going on. Is that, you're using him as a scapegoat, and it's pretty much not working.
Yeah, so all in all, I think that event wasn't needed. It was just they put it on because they had to have a pay-per-view.
They had to, and because the pay-per-view itself was free, mainly because of the fact the Royal Rumble was so shit.
Yeah, to me it was basically like a glorified episode of Raw.
It was,
without
just
the adverts.
like we said earlier.
So those matches probably could have happily happened on Raw.
It could have done, and because it was free. That's what hurts it more, because then they're not going to put as much effort into making this a good pay-per-view, because they're not getting money out of it.
Yeah. So
it's like, we're not making much money, but why should we care?
I hope the pay-per-views after WrestleMania are far better than that.
They really got to step up.
Because if they're the same quality of that, they're not going to sell many networks.
They're not. So that's Fastlane out of the way. We're just 5 weeks late, but we'll talk about the WrestleMania now. The card, because the card's pretty much finalised. We'll give some predictions on that's been going on. For the pre-show, they got booked as Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus the New Day versus Los Matadores and the Usos.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I'm praying that they retain in this match.
I wish they will, because
no racism involved at all. The New Day gimmick is just, where are they going with this? That sort of thing is, in this day and age, with what's going on in parts of America at the moment, with like that sort of ethnic background, is why have they done it?
I don't get it.
It's guaranteed to not be popular.
It is.
And I don't think, from what I've seen, that it's caused much of a pop since.
It's not, no. Los Matadores, to me, why do they deserve a tag team?
They're another tag team that had the big build-up, but they've just been a comedy duo.
Yeah, how long have they been off TV?
Must be a few months at least.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're getting a tag team title shot?
Yeah. Again, I think it's just to put them in the ring to make the match look
That's all this is. It's WrestleMania. We've got to get everyone on the card.
Yeah. And I'll be totally gobsmacked if they win the titles.
Yeah. I don't see Los Matadores winning, or the New Day.
No.
The Usos probably could. They're the best possibility to change titles, and I hope they don't, because it's sort of the tag team titles are sort of stale on them. I mean, they do put on decent matches. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we've seen it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. There's nothing new they can show us.
No, and if they were going to have like a tag team to come up and maybe push into that division, why not put the Ascension in the match?
That's what I said. That they should have given it. That's how they should have been. The Ascension, when they first debuted, they should have immediately gone for the.
Yeah, they should have done what was speculated back at TLC, when it was speculated that they were going to attack the Usos then.
You could attack them then and book them for a tag team championship straight away and pretty much destroy them, which they should have done.
I mean, anyone knows, going back to the FCW days, the Ascension had a good rivalry with the Usos back in FCW, so
they have worked with each other in the past, and they can.
So they
do know what they're doing. Yeah. So
again, they dropped the ball with that.
Yeah. So we agree that Tyson Kidd and Cesaro should retain. We'll go with that.
We're hoping.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro will retain. Yeah. Because it'd be like the Royal Rumble again, from last year, where the tag team belts changed hands on the pre-show, and the Outlaws won.
Yeah,
I was like,
surprising.
Why? If you're going to change belts, don't you want to do that on the main show where everybody's watching?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that mistake, so I see them retaining that. And the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is being relegated to the pre-show, which was quite a surprise, and probably the best move, because nobody cares.
No, I mean, the only thing I really care about in this is there's the added thing now where an NXT star is going to be added into it.
Oh, that was true, yeah. Which one was it?
I haven't seen NXT this week yet, so I don't know who got there, but my thoughts of Adrian Neville, I think he's going to be the one, with the various rumours that he's going up to the main roster now.
That could be, yeah.
It could be him that goes into it.
So it's a good idea that they put this on the pre-show, because it's a waste of a point on the main card, and it shouldn't even be needed.
As for my predictions on who's going to win it,
this is a tough one to call.
I'm going to go with, if Sheamus returns, Sheamus wins.
If he returns, he will have to win, because it'll be a big way for him to get back in.
But if not, I'm going to take a shot out there and say Damien Mizdow.
I was going to say that. I thought Mizdow...
To break him away from the Miz.
Yeah. Because they should have done this already. They should have had a match at WrestleMania. But I bet you, if they did... Yeah. It pretty much would have been the match of the night. They just stole the show.
He's already really over, and he's technically a heel still, but the fans still love him.
He's been cheered as a face, and he's a heel, and it's about time they broke it, because the gimmick it was funny at first, but now it is just getting stale.
We didn't end up seeing what we always wanted to see, where he eliminated himself like the Royal Rumble because the Miz did.
Yeah.
Which is what I personally wanted to see.
It would have been a decent laugh.
But yeah, it's gone on too long.
It's gone on long enough, and I think WrestleMania would have been the perfect choice for him to win it. And if they're not going to have a match, I think he should win that, break away from the Miz, and perhaps they could have a match, you know, at the next pay-per-view at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, definitely.
Which they have to break it up because it's going on too long. What other matches will I do? Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, which we knew was going to happen.
It's an interesting one for me. I think going into this, I think Randy Orton will win.
I think he will, yeah, because he's just come back. He hasn't had a match.
I'll come on to my reasoning
he's
why.
got one that basically means anything.
I'll come on to my reasoning why in a moment about it, but I think with his long hiatus, like 4 or 5 months he's been out now since Survivor Series, was it just before?
Just before that.
Which was in his hometown, which was surprising he didn't show up
Yeah.
at. But with him turning face pretty much recently.
Yeah, he's pretty much going to have to.
I think he will beat Rollins, but I think there's a reason behind that, which I'll come on to in a moment.
Fair enough, we'll get back to that. Rusev versus Cena, which we've already said Cena's going to win.
Yeah, we think Cena will win. And
that's my money. Yeah. My money's going to be on Cena. He's going to bury Rusev with the golden shovel, because this is Rusev's first WrestleMania appearance, if I remember right.
And I hope it don't happen, but I think this could be the beginning of the end for Rusev.
Yeah.
As a main.
Which is a real shame, because I think what they should do is they should keep Rusev undefeated at least for a good while longer, because let's face it, whoever beats Rusev when he's built up this really big heel, he's going to give up.
If someone is going to beat him, I mean, with the rumours going around at the moment that Brock Lesnar's going to turn face, why not have Lesnar beat him?
See, that would have put some
now he's signed the deal with the WWE. And
you know, if Rusev kept being built up further and further as undefeated and have Lesnar beat him, mind you, do we want Lesnar to get another streak under his belt?
No,
after the last one.
But he's probably like one of the only ones that.
I admit, having Lesnar beat Rusev would be a legitimate way of giving Rusev a big push. You know, you were undefeated and you lost to one of the baddest dogs in the yard.
Yeah, because what everyone wants isn't going to happen. Because I know everyone was hoping that Kurt Angle would rejoin the WWE and beat Rusev, but that's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen, no. Kurt Angle's at this point where he's going to retire.
And yeah, I admit, I was probably in the camp where I would love that to happen.
That would have been an incredible match.
But it's just never. He's re-signed with TNA now.
He's re-signed with TNA, and he's openly said that he wants to retire around 46, which he is 46 now.
So that's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Which is a shame. I know he said he wanted his career to end in WWE. He wanted one last run, but they just don't want to know him. Which why the hell would you not want to know him?
We can't hope for that anymore. No. That's now he's signed. That's out of the window.
You don't want to re-sign Kurt Angle. He's one of the most decorated and talented wrestlers
still out there.
Still out there. Probably ever will be. It makes no sense, but yeah, we agree. Cena's going to win. Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Now this is a hard one because.
I'm split on this one. Part of me thinks that Bray Wyatt will win to focus and to avenge last year of getting destroyed and buried at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think he will, but then on the other side, I can't see them taking losing twice. I don't know.
This is a difficult one because whoever wins this,
loses either way.
Somebody is going to lose out either way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my money on the Undertaker's gonna win.
I think so as well. Yeah. Just I think there'd be too much hate otherwise.
I think there will. I mean, Bray Wyatt realistically should win because it will hurt I think it'll hurt the Undertaker less.
Yeah.
Than it will because Undertaker can take a loss at this point.
Yeah, and let's face it, he's not going to be around anyway.
He's not going to be around much longer. He can take another loss at this point.
If there is any heat, it won't. There's much more chance of it being ridiculous heat on Wyatt because he's going to be around afterwards. Yeah.
Which is what he wants, and he wants to be heated on. He's the heel, and because
he is playing a really good heel.
Yeah, and because the streak's not around, it's not going to be as damaging because the streak's not there.
No, so it won't be as big a loss as last year.
Bloody shame because if the streak was still intact, Wyatt would have been a brilliant ideal opponent to break it. I think.
Yeah, to really cement himself as sort of the monster heel.
Yeah, that would have solidified his position as the next Undertaker if he beated the streak.
Yeah,
that would have really done it.
It would.
Yeah, but the overall, I just cannot see them booking the Undertaker to lose at WrestleMania twice in a row.
And just to put it out there for the people that still sort of have got a bit of hate for Wyatt. He's come a long way since he was the Husky Harris.
Oh, definitely.
Just to put it out there.
The promos he cuts are more than enough evidence
just
to show how well he's
done. People that still come out with those chants every now and again. He was a lot younger then, and he's come out of that with flying colours in my book.
He definitely.
In both his promos and his ring work. Yeah.
So yeah, we agree. We think Taker's going to win.
Yeah.
The bottom level. Divas Tag Team match.
Another
AJ
one.
Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins.
Another match that shouldn't really be on the main card.
Shouldn't be, but if they've really listened with the give Divas a chance, at least I should hope. Because these 4 women can put on a decent show if they let them.
I think Paige and AJ will win, but it's tough now because obviously they've had a bit of heat recently, haven't they, on Raw, and so will something like that happen and the Bellas win? But I don't think they will because Nikki still keeps the title
because the title's not on the line, no.
So I think the faces will win.
But then we pointed out earlier, who the Bella Twins are in a relationship with.
I think it could
is that going to play a factor?
No, I think it could be a case where the faces win, AJ and Paige, but after the match, one attacks another.
Do you think they'll extend the feud a bit further and have them rematch at Extreme Rules?
Yeah, that's what I think will happen.
That's probably
either that. It'll be either that, or if they want to play it the other way, Brie Bella return on Nikki Bella. Properly this time.
You think that'll happen?
Yeah.
That's a scenario that could actually happen. I just don't see it happening.
Because she's got fed up of not being in the title picture herself, maybe.
It's a possibility, yeah. But I don't see it happening, but it can happen.
I prefer that to happen, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it could happen, but yeah, I'd say AJ Lee and
Which
Paige
could possibly set up a fatal 4-way for the title.
Well, that's a thought. Yeah, that could win, yeah, but we'll agree. AJ Lee and Paige will win.
Yeah.
Alright. Intercontinental ladder match between Bad News Barrett, R-Truth, Stardust, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Daniel Bryan, and Dolph Ziggler.
I think Dean Ambrose will win.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think Dean Ambrose probably deserves it the most.
If I can't see Bryan winning, because I can't see Bryan going down that road with that title. I think he's in there to give the match more credibility.
It's credibility. Daniel Bryan winning would be the most logical choice.
It's another case of what they've done with the US title with Cena, where they've made him go after that to make it more prominent. I
think that there's rumours that Bryan would win to make the Intercontinental Championship more prestigious.
Yeah.
Even though, how the hell are you going to make it prestigious with what they've been doing it with last month? Yeah. I just don't see that happening. I don't see them making it, but it will be in my mind either Ambrose or Bryan, because I don't think R-Truth, bless him, has got a hope in hell. R-Truth doesn't deserve a title shot. I mean, where's he been? Yeah, and I can't see Stardust just sort of got thrown into that. Yeah. Ziggler, again, he deserves it, but he's had it a while. No, I don't think. I just don't see him winning it now. No, I think Ziggler's past in the Continental title. I think he is going to push on after WrestleMania and go up to the higher ranks. I think so. Luke Harper, no, he won't win it. So listen, logically, Bryan should win. But Ambrose deserves it the most. But I've got this is one time I'll disagree. I don't see this happening. I actually see Bad News Barrett retaining. I'll be surprised very much. I'll be surprised, but I actually do see that happening because and when you say that, I mean it's probably possible because they keep reiterating the fact that it's him against so many other people. Don't they? The fact what upsets me is the fact he's lost frequently to all these other guys over the last several weeks, and so it'll make him. It'll make him a lot better if he finally says, "Yeah, I've got to win over you lot over the grand stage of them all." In all at once. Yeah, and they keep sort of intimating there with like Michael Cole and JBR keep saying that his odds are really low of winning and stuff like that, which makes you think they're building. That's why I'm just thinking he's just going to do a complete U-turn. Yeah, I won't be surprised. So, but you think your money's on Dean Ambrose? Yeah, unless someone interferes, which I can't see happening. I can't see happening. We're not with all these people there. The last thing we need is more people. That's another place where Sheamus is rumoured to return. For the Intercontinental, put him in the Intercontinental. Screw someone out of the Intercontinental title. So could it be possibly that Bryan's going for it and Sheamus? And they put up their match that they were rumoured to have in the next pay-per-view. I fucking hope that doesn't happen. No, but that's the things that you can see it happening, but so that's one we don't agree on. Is I think Barrett's going to win. You think Ambrose will? Yeah, that's fair enough. But again, Dean Ambrose probably does deserve it most. Yeah, but with his pay-per-view record, definitely. Just don't see it happening. Next match: Sting versus Triple H. It's a shame again. This is probably the match that I'm looking forward to the most. I think Sting's going to win. I think it's obvious Sting's going to win. Yeah. I think Triple H is big and ugly enough now to take one where he doesn't mind. If he put Daniel Bryan over last year, so and the fact it's Sting. Yeah, he's sort of. I think he's going to give all the legacy of WCW a good stance at the events. I think the sort of WCW sort of deserves it. You know, just think, hang on, one of our top guys basically finally beating one of your top guys. I think it's just probably just to make up for that crappy invasion angle they did here all those years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say Triple H should win, just but I just mean in line.
It wouldn't make sense because if this is going to be Sting's possibly only one time match, why would you give him a loss?
It just wouldn't make sense for that massive build up.
You're making all this build up and there's all this big deal with Sting just to have him lose.
No, I really think Sting will win.
No.
I can't see any interference coming.
I can't see it being played. Or if it does happen, Sting will overcome it. I just don't see it getting in the way. But I think Triple H will put Sting over.
Yeah, there's only one. To me, there's only one outcome of that match, and that's Sting.
It has to be because if Triple H winning, there's going to be too much backlash. If Sting
I think
loses.
at the end of the match, Triple H might show him a bit of respect after the match.
Yeah, it would make sense, because there's rumours about Sting and the Undertaker going for 32. Like the rumours about they're going to meet on the next night afterwards, which I hope they do.
I mean, depending on where it is in the card, I mean, this is a definite shot in the dark. But say this match appears after Bray Wyatt and the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe after Sting beats Triple H, the Undertaker's music hits.
That'd be interesting.
And it hints at a rematch next year between them two.
That'd be true because they'd have a year-long build like they did with The Rock and Cena did.
Yeah.
That would work because that will be one way to generate interest for. Because WWE made it clear they want to break the all-time records for the stadium there.
Yeah, so that could be another possibility.
So
if that doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it could well happen the next night on Raw.
Yeah, I can see it happening. But either way, we'll go. Sting has to win. Because
it doesn't make sense.
It makes the most logical sense for him to win.
Triple H has no reason to win in my book.
No, I think that's the case. And finally, we've got the main event: Lesnar and Reigns.
The one that I'm finding it hard to call, but the reason I mentioned Seth Rollins earlier will come into this.
This is going to be a difficult one because before the news broke out that Lesnar was re-signed, my money was on Reigns. I knew Reigns was going to win.
Yeah, definitely, because if someone's contract's up and they're leaving,
Lesnar's going to be. If he was going to be on his way out, he'd have to drop the belt.
How could they possibly let someone retain that's not going to be in the company?
Exactly. But although if he were, I said even if he was going to leave, he should have won anyway because just dropped the belt the next night.
Yeah, that's true. Cause
it's
better losing the title on Raw rather than WrestleMania.
He could have just appeared on Raw, dropped the belt, said, nobody beat me, I'm done with you.
Yeah, or even they could have given the story where he kept the belt at WrestleMania, but he got injured.
There was talk about that,
and had to vacate the title.
Yeah, there was talk about if he was gonna leave in the next night on Raw, they were gonna have it like the Undertaker was gonna basically write him off screen by obliterating him as a way of getting revenge for what happened last year, the streak being broken, which would have been cool to see, and it would have made sense.
Would have made sense, yeah.
It's shocking that the Undertaker still hasn't made any attempts to redeem himself from that loss.